Yeah, and this next story's been making me really angry all day. So I'm glad we get a chance to make you as angry as I've been. Because a Trump appointed judge not only made biblical references in an order, but he made an order requiring Southwest Airlines lawyers to attend a Christian law firm's religious liberty training. And I'm not taking a liberty myself by saying that this is a Christian law firm. This is an explicitly Christian law firm. It is in their purpose statement on their website. And we'll get into more of that in a minute. But first, we need to talk about how this lawsuit came to be in the first place. So in May, the airline lost the lawsuit in which a flight attendant claimed she was fired for opposing her union's decision to participate in the Women's March and also for her anti-abortion posts on social media. From CNN, following the verdict, District Judge Brantley Starr ordered Southwest to reinstate Carter, the woman from the lawsuit, and take several other corrective actions, including requiring both the airline and the union to inform Southwest flight attendants that under Title VII, they may not discriminate against Southwest flight attendants for their religious practices and beliefs, including but not limited to those expressed on social media and those concerning abortion. But in messages sent by 3 Southwest attorneys to the company's employees, according to a sanctions order handed down by Starr, the airline instead said that Southwest does not discriminate against our employees for their religious practices and beliefs. So Judge Starr ordered those attorneys to attend religious liberty training because they used the word does when they said does not discriminate instead of may. So he wanted them to say may not discriminate. And in his order, he makes a reference to the Bible. From that order, it's hard to see how Southwest could have violated the notice requirement more. I mean, as someone who's worked in the law, I can imagine quite a few ways, but I digress. Take these modified historical and movie anecdotes. After God told Adam, you must not eat from the tree in the middle of the garden. Imagine Adam telling God, I do not eat from the tree in the middle of the garden while an apple core rests at his feet. Now, if you're wondering why it says and movie anecdotes, he then goes on to make a reference to the Lord of the Rings. However, and I think this is important to note, he referred to the story of Adam and Eve as historical. He referred to the biblical story as historical fact, which is important to keep in mind as we take a closer look at the organization that will be conducting this religious freedom training. Now from CNN, the sanctions order handed down by District Judge Brantley Starr, an appointee of former President Donald Trump, are an unusual demand given that the group, the Alliance Defending Freedom, has a lengthy history of representing religious adherents in high-profile cases seeking to bolster religious protections and roll back LGBTQ and reproductive rights nationwide. Continues on, ADF has a long history of advocating for conservative causes at courts around the country, including the United States Supreme Court, where its lawyers successfully represented the plaintiff in a major free speech case this term, in which the conservative majority rolled back some key LGBTQ protections. And if you're wondering, yes, it is the same case we covered here on TYT, where the woman said that she refused to design a website for a gay couple's wedding. It was that case. They were also involved in the case that repealed Roe v. Wade. So that gives you an idea of the types of cases that this organization takes on. Now, I mentioned earlier that the order is so bizarre, and I don't need you to just take my word for it because several attorneys and judges also weighed in to talk about the bizarre nature of this order. So let's start with John Browning, who is a former Texas appellate court judge, who had this to say when speaking to Bloomberg: I've never seen anything like that before. It's not uncommon to order attorneys to complete certain training. Rarely does it get as specific as ordering someone from this organization to give you training on religious liberty. ADF is not neutral, said Zhao Wang, a University of Virginia law professor. They have certain positions on religious liberty issues, and they take them all the time in court. Now, I attempted to research the nature of these trainings conducted by the ADF, but I came to find there's no evidence they do these types of trainings, not just for in-house counsels, but for anyone at all. The only thing I did find in the way of giving training specifically to attorneys was that they offer an academy for what is essentially continuing legal education class for lawyers that states that it seeks to combine legal education with, quote, unwavering commitment to Christian principles. So I think it's okay for us to assume that this training that they're going to be giving to these attorneys is also going to further that unwavering commitment to Christian principles. Now, the attorneys have been ordered to complete the training by August 28th, and they also required the airline to pay for the travel, accommodations, time, as well as the food for the ADF's representative who's going to be giving the training. The airlines has said that they're going to appeal the decision. They also issued this statement. Although Southwest contends the email notice will still substantially comply with the judgment, Southwest has already offered to purge this alleged contempt by providing a corrective notice, replacing the does not discriminate language with may not discriminate. Put another way, there is no conduct for religious liberty training to remedy. Cenk, I completely agree with them. This is an absurd overstep. And honestly, to some extent, it feels like the ADF is getting kickbacks from this judge. And I'll just say, because if anyone was wondering, yes, this Judge Starr is related to Ken Starr. He is his nephew.
And Trump appointed, of course. Okay, so there's a couple of different issues here, and so let me break them down one by one. And the judge is not wrong about everything. So let me explain. So first of all, you're not allowed to discriminate on religious beliefs. If they did, that is a problem. Now I thought the case was complicated because what the Southwest was saying is, look, we don't have any problem with her religious beliefs. She was just yelling at her coworkers because they went to a pro-choice rally or a women's march, right? And then Planned Parenthood was part of it. And we don't want our employees yelling at each other. I think it's super fair, but it doesn't matter because the jury actually ruled on her behalf. Okay, I respect the jury's ruling, so they shouldn't have done that. Okay, so that's point one. Point two is then Southwest, as part of that settlement, has to say, the judges ordered us that we may not discriminate like this, and instead they say Southwest does not discriminate like this. I could actually see the judge being a little annoyed by that. I get it. Did he have to use an Adam and Eve historical analogy there? No, he didn't, right? But okay, those are all like interesting things that happen, no problem, and you could agree, disagree, etc., right? But when you get to the remedy, that is not a hard question at all, okay? So why do I say that? Now, there's a great irony here, but first, like if you want to order somebody to go to harassment and discrimination training to make sure that they don't discriminate based on religion, great, no problem. We don't want discrimination, right? And that's fairly normal, and then you get to pick one of the standard companies that does this professionally, right? But if you appoint them to a rando religious organization who has an unwavering commitment to pushing Christianity down your throat that doesn't even do this kind of training, do you guys get the irony? How about their religious liberty? Like, I'm an atheist that was born Muslim. If I'm ordered to go get Christian indoctrination, that violates my religious liberty. It's deeply, deeply ironic. And the fact that the judge can't see that is another massive problem. But no, they can't. This Southern Poverty Law Center says this group is a hate group against LGBTQ folks. You can't order lawyers to go to a hate group and get indoctrinated on religion when you're trying to protect religious liberty. Wildly outrageous, not anywhere near legal, constitutional, or right. I hope it's overturned on appeal, but it shows you the danger of having people who believe in a theocracy instead of a democracy. I mean, are we really gonna allow judges to now start forcing people into like Christian education camps? This is madness.
It's madness and America. I mean, let's be honest. I mean, the religions you're speaking about, or the lack of religion, atheist, Muslim, those are not their religions. Those religions don't matter because America to them is a Christian nation, and they're enacting that. To prove it, this is the group, like Ray said, that actually defended a client that didn't have a client. Like, there was no gay couple. The guy that the name that they used was a married heterosexual man who had been married, who never solicited business from this person, and it made it all the way to the Supreme Court. So we know they are willing to do this, and they will continue to do this. It's absolutely disgusting. It also makes sense that we point out that the judge that you were reading about, Browning in Texas, is a Republican, lifelong Republican. So the crazy is really crazy.
Right. I just want to point out though, Cenk, just in case this whole TYT thing doesn't work out, I saw when I was researching the story on their website that they are looking for attorneys who want to find a way to practice in a God-honoring way. So that's always an option.
Okay, yeah, since I am a former attorney, I can just get back in there, and as long as I follow the religious commandments, I should be okay, because America? Thanks for watching The Young Turks, really appreciate it. Another way to show support is through YouTube memberships. You'll get to interact with us more. There's live chat emojis, badges. You've got emojis of me, Anna, John, JR, so those are super fun. But you also get playback of our exclusive member-only shows and specials right after they air. So all of that, all you gotta do is click that join button right underneath the video. Thank you.